and already started some very good interaction with the teams yesterday. So my pleasure to continue this as a workshop leader today. So I will introduce you to Python. I don't know to what extent you're already familiar with this. So I try to create the workshop in a way that we cover some basic things, and then we talk about how to do machine learning in Python as well, with a couple of examples. So at least you will understand and a little bit see how the tool works and how it looks like and what can be done with it. Let me share my screen with you. I hope you can all see it. Can you see it? Yeah, great.
Yes.
All right. Let me start. I will just briefly talk about myself. I've been already introduced, but I will tell you a little bit more about myself and why I'm doing what I'm currently doing. I like to work with data and coding from my childhood, from the very beginning, and I always wanted to do career and to progress in this area. At that time, no one was talking about machine learning, about the data science. Everyone was talking more about econometrics, statistics. And actually was studying economics originally I'm from Russia, so I've done my master degree in Moscow, and then I moved to Paris, where I did my PhD in institutional economics, and that was very much applied mathematics and econometrics to solve let's say life problems. And the two photos you can see on the right here are actually the Nobel Prize in institutional economics, and I'm very proud to work in this field because actually the first woman who got the Nobel Prize in economics is Elinor Ostrom, who is on the very top right of the slide, and I had an honor to know her and participate in this conference. So that makes me really proud to relate to this field. When I finished my PhD, I decided where next should I go? Should I stay in academics, or should I move into industry? And at that time, everyone was talking about fintech environment. And I joined the company that is called Vonga.com at that time in London. Since then, I've been always working in the financial technology sector, in gaming sector, and currently I'm working as the chief data officer at a company that's called ZestMoney. It's one of the fastest developing and fintech company in India, and basically the mission of the company is to use data and machine learning to solve affordability problem for millions of Indians. So that's what we are currently doing, and I'm basically taking care of everything that is related to data strategy, to building AI and machine learning algorithms there. I'm also part of the Women in AI Switzerland chapter, since I'm living in Switzerland. So spending some time to contribute back to the community from where I came, and do some educational programs with the schools and with some communities as well. So this is briefly about my journey. It's a while I'm not actually doing a lot of Python coding myself during for my work, but I like to code and I like to build machine learning algorithms. So I'm often participating in Kaggle competition and some other hackathons that are organized by various teams and communities. So why Python actually? Python is one of the tools that enable us to build machine learning and AI algorithm. And you can see here the one table and one chart that is coming from the tech communities that are very popular among the engineers and the data scientists. And you can actually see that Python not always been the most used language, and only in the recent years it became the #1 and basically overpassed JavaScript to do anything. And big companies like the big names, I'm sure Google, YouTube, Netflix, they all build their internal systems, and we know that they are the pioneers basically in using and building machine learning technologies for various use cases to test their hardware, or for example, YouTube to recommend the videos, Netflix to recommend the movies that you can watch. They all use Python, and all their internal systems are built in Python. And why they're doing it? First of all, it is free, and it is an open source program that everyone can use. It's a very powerful tool, so you not only can use it for building machine learning algorithm, but for building the software, the applications, and so on. There is a lot of different libraries. So for example, and I will talk a little bit about it later, when you build a machine learning algorithm, you do not actually need to take and code it from the very scratch. You can just import it from the library collection and use it for whatever purposes you need it for. So it's reduces a lot the time that is needed to create something. It's very compatible between various platforms and other languages, so you can combine it with Java, with C++, and so on, and use it in combination with other languages. It can also be used on various operating systems as well, so that makes it as well easier to implement and use it everywhere. And it's also easy to learn and to use it, as you can see later on. A little bit of history. Actually, the language itself been invented by the guy who is drinking beer on the photo here, is Guido van Rossum, who been an engineer in the Netherlands, and he's been actually thinking about creating a language which from one side allows programmers to have freedom and express themselves in this code, and at the same time to have it very well structured, and so everyone can read and use this code as well. So he invited Python in this way, and actually called it by the famous TV show character that was called Monty Python. So this is a little bit of origins of this language. And what I would like you to do now, or if you don't want to do it, or maybe you already have Python installed, just to follow me on the presentation, and I will be sharing the slides, and it is also recorded, the session, so you can try and do some examples later on. So to run the Python, what do you need? First is to go to python.org to install the latest version of it. It's a very simple installation. So just go to it and follow the instructions, just next, and so on. But what else is needed to make it run is the editor. I use, for example, PyCharm, but and there is a link to download it as well. And there are others you can use. There is a Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, and so on. But what it is needed for, it actually allows us to edit the code and at the same time see the result in the terminal. So let me go to the code itself and I'll show you a couple of examples of what we can do with this. For the machine learning part, I will also ask you to install Jupyter Notebook, but we'll talk a little bit later about it. So let me go out of the presentation. So as I said, if you want to download it from the scratch, you do not yet have it installed on your computer, you can go to python.org and just download the latest version here. It's Python 3.9.2. But if you do not want to do it immediately now, you can just follow me on the presentation. And in my case, I also created the editor in the PyCharm. So close it. Once you downloaded it, you open the PyCharm. Can you just flag on the comments who is working in Python together with me?
Downloaded it, but like I don't know how to proceed from there.
Okay, so great. You just download it, leave it. So execute the file that you downloaded.
There's a notification box coming saying that install Python 3.9.2 64-bit, and the only option is cancel. No, wait. Okay, I can install it.
So you download the exec file and then you install it.
Yes, ma'am, it's installing.
Okay, great. And together with this, I suggest you also install the PyCharm. So this is the link to do the installation. So just let me copy it for you so you can see it.
Can you post
JetBrains.com.
it on the chat box?
Sure, let me do this. Good idea. Right. Just trying to see where I can do it. I think here. Right. So this is for the PyCharm and Python for the Python. So both links are on the chat. You can see, should be able to see them now. And for the PyCharm as well, it is just download and execute the downloaded file. You just follow all the instruction that computer suggests you. I will just give you a few minutes to do this, and then we can continue.
Ma'am, so for PyCharm, there are coming two options. Ma'am, one is professional and one is community. So which one should I download?
So go for community one.
Okay.
Professional one is for companies. We can definitely use community. Are you done with the installations? Should we go ahead?
Ma'am, I'm done with Python. PyCharm is installing.
Okay, let's give another couple of minutes. Great. Let me also send you a couple of files that I will be using later for the examples. So you can also, everyone can download them here. That's basically two CSV file. One is called music and another one is called VG sales. So I uploaded two files, so feel free to download them as well to your computer. I will be using them later in the examples. But for now, you can basically start just doing things here. Can you see my PyCharm screen?
Yes.
Or you see the presentation?
We see our browser.
The browser, okay. Let me see how I can switch it. Okay, I think now you should be able to see the PyCharm. So once you open the PyCharm, so just go to your console, wherever it is installed, and click on the shortcut, and then you go to the file and create the new project there. And you can see the location. This is by default where all the Python related project file will be recorded. If you want to change it, you can always change it. And you just add the name of the project that you want to give to your project. So it can be test, for example, and you create it. So basically what the program is doing now is creating the virtual environment on your machine. There is in more advanced way the options to set up the environment on the servers, but today we are not going to do it. So here you see that the project is created, and there is already the example script, the file that is created. But in our case, we will create our own Python file. So you go to the project, you right click, and there is new and Python file. And you can give a name to your Python file as well. So it can be test. So you see that all the Python files have the resolution PI. Are you following me? Can we continue, or you're stuck somewhere before?
Getting confused. Like I've never done coding before, so.
Where are you? At what stage?
I just know very, very basic Java.
No, I mean, in this process, what is confusing? Let's.
In this process, like I don't know, ma'am. Whenever I'm trying to click on PyCharm, it's just showing that PyCharm is already installed. You want to continue, and then when I say yes, it's just closing, and then when I click no, it's still closing.
But then it means that it is already installed. So just go to where you saved it. You save the application. So
Ma'am,
in
I can do
the
that only.
so go to your window menu where you can see and just type PyCharm. So you see the application is already installed since it is telling you this. So just click on this and then you will see the screen that is I'm showing to you.
Okay, okay. This is PyCharm.
This is PyCharm, yeah. You do not need to go to directly open the Python. So the PyCharm is editor that already is allowing you to code in Python and run the programs in terminal. Anyone else have problems or you're all good to continue? Feel free to post wherever you are. Let's try to go ahead. So we created the test file. And let's try writing anything in this file. So the first one is the command print. The command is used when you want to see something in the terminal. And I think the most famous quote that is used for Python for the beginners is to write hello world. When you write this string that is hello world is, please put it in the brackets the same way I'm doing. So here we are, and you can run it. So you go on the top panel and you can see the run button here. It asks you to choose which file you want to run and you choose test. And what you can see here on the bottom, the terminal window that shows you hello world. So that's exactly what it allows us to do. So we printed hello world, and this is what we see as a result. So you can print whatever you want, but be aware that if it is the string, it should be in the brackets. But if you want to print the number, for example, print 10, then it allows you just to print the number 10. So that's the most simple command that you can give to Python. And are you still with me? Are you following everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Let's go ahead and print something more interesting. But instead of print, we actually ask the system to ask us something. For example, what is your name? And for this, we use command input. What is your name? And we want the system to ask us doing this. And we also want to see it on the screen. So we again use print. And for example, when we answer what our name, we want the system tells us, hello, Natalia, for example, or hello, Priya, or whatever your name is. So in this case, what we are doing, we again put print. And we say, hello, leave the space. And then instead of putting again this long input, we create the variable out of this input. So we create the variable that is called name, and then we can always reference it. So we do like this, hello, name. And let's see what happens in this case. So we go again to the panel and run it. And you see what is happening. And the terminal is asking us, what is your name? And they put here, Natalia. And when I enter, it shows me, hello, Natalia. So that's exactly what we coded here. So we created the variable that is called name with a question, with the input that the system requires us. And then you can put your name when it asks, and the system then prints hello name. Everyone here with me?
Yes, ma'am, did you write name underscore input or is that name plus input?
No, it is equal. So when you define the variable, it is name. So maybe you do not see it. Well, so it is name equal. When you define the variable, it is always equal. And the input is a function you create here. No, I don't think so. Oh, you see it? Okay, great. So let's go ahead and then try create something similar. But for example, the system asking your birth year. So we create the variable birth year, which will be input from the question. Enter your birth year. And what we then want to do, since the system returns us the birth year, we want to calculate the age. And we create the variable that is age equal. We are 2021.
Your screen is not visible.
Oh, it's not visible. Okay, let me. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
So after we created this question about the name, let's try to do it with a number now. And the system asking what your year of birth. We will delete it. And we create the variable birth year, which will be the input from you to the system, enter your birth year. And then we try to calculate what is your age. So we put age as a difference between 2029 today and the birth year. And we will print the age to see the output. So let's try run it and see what we have. So the system asked me enter your birth year. I put my birth year, which is 1983. But then what happens? I see some error. And what it says that the error is on this line where I calculate age equal to 2021 minus my birth year. And the error is unsupported operand type. Why? Because there are two different types of variables that are defined here. So 2021 is the integer variable. It is a number. But the birth year, it's not actually the number. It is the string, because the way it is defined through the input, it is the string variable. So I can't create the operation using two different variables types. And to correct it, I need to convert one variable type into the other. And there is a special way to do it. So there is a function, integer, where I convert the birth year into integer. And now if I run it, let's see what the system tells me. So enter your birth year again. I put my birth year 1983. And you see that the output this time works very well. So the age is calculated as 38 and the system printed for me. So remember that when you do operations with different variables types, it doesn't work. You need to convert one variable into the other. And there are different variables types in Python. So there is integer, there is a string, there is a float, and what is float is basically the number with decimals. There is a Boolean number. Boolean number is basically true or false, 1 or 0. And this is all the functions how you can convert one variable type into the other when you do any interactions with the variables. Are you still with me? Did it work for you?
Yes, ma'am. Do they have double and char type in Python?
What do you mean by double?
Double is also decimal, ma'am, but it has a wider range.
No, there is no basically use the float for this purposes.
Okay. And ma'am, how do we know that birth year is a string and not an integer? Like it could have been an integer.
So when you ask the input as a string, it always returns a string. It never returns a number to you.
Okay.
So this is how you can.
Ma'am, I have a question though.
Sure.
Ma'am, if they say that enter your birth year and instead of writing in digits 2021, we actually write the words. Sorry, let's say my birth year is 2004. So I actually write in words 2004. So and if we have converted birth year into int, then how will it convert like words into int?
Well, you won't be able to do it to directly convert the string 2000.
I have to say that enter your birth in digits, right?
Yeah, you need to say it. Yeah, in this case, you're right. To make it more intuitive for the user, absolutely. And especially once if you enter it in as a string, then you won't be able to run any operations on this, right? And when you define the variable, maybe just one last point here is, again, you can define different types of variable. So let's say age equal 20. So this is, we defined an integer. If we define price, for example, equal 10.95, in this case, we defined a float variable. If we say is online equal true, this is we defined the Boolean variable. And be aware here that Python is a case sensitive program. So if you type, for example, is online true with a small letter, and then you can print is online. Just delete this for now. Let's see what it tells us. You can see the error, and the error is that name true is not defined. Why? Because we put it the value with a small case, and it doesn't consider it as being as Boolean number. If we defined it true, then that should work. And you can see that Python typed as the type of the variable value. Sorry. And another one is a string, for example, first name, Natalia. This is how we defined the string. All right, let me show you a couple of more things here, and then we can go to the machine learning part. So one thing is interesting that and very often used in Python is if statements. For example, let's consider the following example. We create a variable, which is temperature. And we say the value is 35. Then what we want to do, we create the if statement. If temperature is more than 30, what we want to do, we want to print it's a hot day. Let's run it. Let's see what happens. What we see, it is an error. There is syntax error because there should be a comma after 30. Let's rerun it. And now you see that because the value of the variable is 35 is greater than 30, it shows us it's a hot day. What will be if the value is lower, is 25? So let's see what the system shows us in this case. It didn't show us anything. Why? Because we didn't specify what show or what to do to the system in case the temperature is below 30. So we only specified what message to be shown when the temperature is above 30. So what we do in this case, we finish our statement, if, which stands for else if temperature, for example, greater than 20. Again, we do the command, and we print, instead of it's a hot day, we print it's a nice day. And let's see what happens now. So you see that the temperature is 25, is greater than 20, but it is below 30. And the instruction was to show it's a nice day. Are you following me? You okay with what is happening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Great. And then, for example, we want, you can continue all these if statements as many as you want, every time specifying what the instruction needs to be done. And for example, you can finish this with else condition, that if it is below 20, let's print it's a cold day. And we put the value 5 here. So let's see what happens. Again, we run the code. And we see since the condition is now temperature equal to 5, is everything that is below 20, the system shows us the last condition that is applicable in this case. It is a cold day.
Ma'am, when we say that the temperature, if it's greater than 30, it does not include 30, right? It starts from 31.
Correct. It
So
starts from 31.
It's a nice day.
Yeah. If you want to make it equal, you can do it greater or equal. That's the way to do it. But if it is just sign greater or smaller, that does mean that the borders are not included, border values. All right, and then let me show you one more thing before moving to machine learning part. Is called loops. So, for example, I am doing the following thing: print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, and print 5. So what I'm doing, I'm just printing the numbers from 1 to 5. But what is wrong with it, the way I'm doing? So you can see all the numbers are depicted here. It is good to do when you just need 2 or 3 numbers to get printed. But if you need a long list of numbers to be printed, say 1,000 or 1 million, you cannot continue just, creating the same code for million records. So in this case, you create a loop. And how you are doing it? So you create a variable. Conventionally it is named E equal to 1. So it means that you start from 1 and you put the condition while E is less equal to 5. So that's exactly what we've been doing from 1 to 5. Print E. And then you define that the step to increase the variable is 1. So let's try running it. And you can see that this is exactly the same code. We were able to reproduce the same output. So the numbers from 1 to 5 and with a step 1. And you can try doing 1,000. This is what you will get here. So you see you got the list of 1,000 values, just writing the code on the 4 lines instead of 1,000 lines. So this is as well, it's called the while if statement that allows you to create this kind of loops. Right. Is it clear? Any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, but like, okay, no questions.
Okay, great. So this is like basic things from Python, what you can do with this. Of course, I've been very quick and you can definitely see more examples, but I wanted to quickly go with you through the machine learning part. And let me share with you back the presentation. Right. Again, I will share with you all the presentation and deck, and you will see examples of it. So what I quickly wanted to go through is a machine learning project and how we are doing it. So what I'm sure that in the last days, you already been talking a lot about machine learning projects, but just a quick recap how we proceed about building the algorithm, machine learning algorithm. There's a few steps that are important to us when we are running the machine learning project, and especially from writing the code point of view, is the first one when you import the data, and very often it is a CSV file or it can be from the big database, but today we do it with a CSV file where you clean the data, where, for example, you have missing data, you can either delete this lines or you can replace the missing value with something. To train and test your algorithm, you need to split your data into 2 parts. So the one on which the algorithm is actually trained is called training set, and the test set where you test your algorithm. So the one that you build on the training, you use to predict the values on the test. And then you can see, for example, how the performance looks like. So you create a model, you train a model, and then make a prediction how exactly your algorithm works. And the last piece here, you evaluate your model based on the performance, based on the accuracy, what the error looks like, and then you see whether you need to retrain, for example, your model, you need to fine-tune some parameters, and so on. Again, won't go too much in details of this, but a few steps we will try to do today. So what I ask you to do is to go to this link to install Anaconda. What it is, Anaconda is a package manager and allows also to set up the application that is called Jupyter Notebook, which is very, very often used for running any machine learning scripts. And why we are doing it in this way rather than, for example, in the PyCharm as we did previously, is that when you install Jupyter and from Anaconda, you already have all the libraries that are needed, again, very often for running machine learning project or doing some analysis already installed, and you do not need to go and manually install every time the new library that you need. And a few names of the libraries that you will often see when you do machine learning project is a NumPy, is basically allowing you to operate with multidimensional arrays with big data sets. Panther, again, very often used for basic data analysis, for doing some statistical analysis, data investigation purposes. Matplotlib, this is a graph library which allows you to create certain charts and visualize your data. And this is, I would say, the top favorite and loved by data scientists is scikit-learn. It is a library that contains machine learning algorithm. It basically contains every type of algorithm, from linear model to decision tree to random forest. Any algorithm is contained in this library.
Can you send the link to this on the chat box?
Sure, I will do it straight away. So you can go and install it. Oh, sorry, Mahiba, I missed your message. You were getting an error. Did you solve it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you go to this link and you install, you go to download and you install the Anaconda. Again, just upload the exec file and run the installation. And together with this, you do not need to separately install Jupyter Notebook. It will automatically be installed. And once you do it, we can go to Jupyter and I will show you a few things that we can do with this. Let me know when you are done so we can go ahead. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's see if you have already the packages, the libraries installed together with this. Okay, it has all packages, great. So I think you can install it separately as well. I used to install all together everything, but yes, if someone has Jupyter Notebook installed with the packages, that also will work. So once you install, you go to your Windows and you look for Jupyter application and you open it. So I did it, and what it shows me, you can see the URL here on the line. It shows you that it works. It created the local machine from on your computer, and this is where we are going to work. And basically, you can see what is on your driver here. So you can see desktop documents, downloads, the usual folders that you see on your system. And I went to the desktop so I can easily see where I save all the projects here. And you go to the new and create the notebook Python 3. So this is how you start with working with Jupyter Notebook. You can see that it's called by default untitled, but you can name it as you want. So I called it test. And here you see these cells, which allows you to create pieces of code and run them by one. But what is nice about Jupyter is that you actually can create the reproducible code and can share it with anyone you want, and the other person can also run it and get the same results as you. Everyone reached the stage. Should we go ahead? I've been previously sharing with you 2 files. So I hope you saved them. If not, go and save. One is called music and one is called VG Sales. And we start by uploading the data from one of these files. And we are out of time now, but I wanted really to show you how to get to the data. And we start just by typing one simple command. So you remember the library I was telling you, Panda, that allows us to do the data analysis. So this is exactly what we need to do now, is to import this library. So import Panda SPD. So next time we do not need to every time type Panda, we define it as PD. And then we write the following line. DF, which stands for data framework. We take the data, we use the library Panda, and then read, underscore CSV. And here, I suggest you download the file where in the same folder where you are using the creating the notebook. So for me, it was a desktop, as it was the easiest. Otherwise, you will need to write the whole path where the file is, if it is different from where the notebook is created. But for simplicity, I suggest it is the same folder. And here you write just the name of the file. So let's start VG sales CSV. And what we want to see, we want to see the output. So to print how the data looks like on the file. So let's run it. So you see on the top, you have this button that allows us to run the cell. And this is what we've got from the file. So without opening the file and actually seeing what it is there, what we've got, the description of the file. So we see what are the variables in this file. This is the names of the variables, and this is the few records that we see, the few top and the few bottom records. You see that there is a rank, there is name of the platform for the game. So actually the file contains the information about the video games sales, the platform on which it runs, the year that it was issued, and so on and so forth, and some sales information. What is interesting, it also allows you to see immediately the size of the file. So it shows you that there are 11 columns in the file and almost 16,600 records in the file. So that's how it looks like, the file. And this is the command to download the file to the Python, to the system, and start working with this. So I think, well, we are really out of time. I don't want to grab a lot of your time with the examples. What I will do, I will share with you code so you can see how to run the machine learning algorithm. It's really very easy. There's just, I was running the decision tree, and that also contains just 5 lines of code. I will share with you straight away. And if you want to create the machine learning algorithm using Python and have any questions, just ping me, and I will help your team to figure out how to do it. Just don't want to take your time from the hackathon and from the problems you're trying to solve. Any questions at this time, at this stage? No? I take it as a no. Well, in this case, thanks a lot. As I said, I will straight away share with you the code and the presentation. So in case of any questions, you can refer to it and see. Thanks a lot for your time, and good luck for the hackathon. As Supriya said, I'm also a mentor.
Thank
So
you so
if
much.
any questions you have, feel free just to ping me.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Contact you if you have a question.
Guys, if anyone has any questions, y'all can unmute and ask. Does anyone have any questions for Natalia?
I know there have been a lot of things, and especially for someone who is new, it's probably overwhelming. But don't worry, it's really fun to write in Python, and I'm sure you'll love it.
I have
For being here, Natalia, and for giving the children a very informative talk. I'm sure they learned a lot. And we're really lucky to have you on board as a mentor as well.
It is my pleasure. Great. Thanks a lot, everyone. I will be disconnecting. And as I said, I will share with you all the materials. So in case you want, you can go through it in your spare time. Thank you and bye.
Bye.